All right, welcome back to another episode of the Cameo podcast. Hit the road once again. The first time we kind of did that was with Stephen Karpiak for the civic election, where he had me meet him outside the city hall. This time, I picked up my next guest. We've been forging a relationship for many months. I'll let you introduce yourself because you're someone to many different people and many different sides of you come out online. Who are you? And when did we meet?
Thank you, Nevin. Well, to start with, my name is Giddens, and I believe we met at one of the Adopt a Road cleanups. You came down to Riverside Park, and we cleaned up a large section of the west end of Riverside Park. And
well, that's when we finally met. We started with a phone call online because we'd met in the comments on a news website, and we were at each other's throats.
Oh, that's entirely possible. I'm well known for being controversial on some topics.
Yeah, but we got on the phone and we realized we were two sides of the same coin. We both have a passion for this community and want to make it better. And so we're both actually also wearing toques. And I'll give a bit of a location away. We are a little bit down the road, away from the core of Kamloops. The choice is yours, Amy. Where are we? What does your hat say? And why are we here?
I'm going to answer that in a different order than you asked it. To start with, why we are here is because there's been a lot of discussion about the recent quote-unquote homeless project on Mission Flats Road. So we have driven out here today. It's a beautiful sunny day, just to get an idea of where it's at. Apparently it's going to be online November 5th. The applicants have been vetted coming into it. I met a lady last night, actually, that's hoping to be moved in here in November. And I think this is a really positive thing for Kamloops, but a lot of people aren't understanding where it is or what it's about, what its purpose is. So we just came out to have a look at all that. What were your other two questions?
What were my other two questions? Your hat.
Oh, I'm wearing my Love Hard toque, lovingly knitted by the fabulous Lynn Borrell, secretary of the Love Hard Kamloops Society, and she ordered these special little Love Hard tags and
nice.
sewed them onto these toques, and it's just I'm in love with it.
It's awesome. And what is Love Hard for people who aren't familiar with the organization? Because it is now a nonprofit organization, and you got some stuff coming up?
Yes, it is. We're fully incorporated under the Societies Act nonprofit organization. We started out almost 2 years ago, really low-key, under the radar. Our very first project was getting somebody winter tires for her car that she couldn't afford so she could go see her parents at Christmas. And we operated under the radar for quite a while with little projects like that. And we ended up becoming more and more visible, so we decided to get formal with it. And
so what's kind of like the goal or the driving force behind the Love Hard movement? That
community health.
What does community health mean?
Community health means I love this city. I don't like how some things go in it. I really don't like it when people are cold and when people are hungry. I'm not a big fan of when people are angry at the less fortunate or at the politicians or at whoever. We're becoming so much of a confrontational society.
We're both unfortunately part of that as well.
Yes, we are. And you know what? This is my balance.
Yeah.
This is what I do to offset.
So why did you want to bring me out to this location? Why did you want to meet here, aside from the fact that we can sit on the back of my car, have a cigarette, drink a coffee, and just take in the gorgeous views that is Kamloops?
Well, my original intention was actually to walk from the bus stop. That was one point that was brought up online. I believe it was in the Kamloops area neighborhoods discussion nexus.
Which is an interesting watering hole.
Can be.
Yeah.
When I keep my mouth shut, it's usually pretty good. But it came up. Somebody was speaking a lot about being on the outskirts of town, and it would be impossible to walk here in 10 minutes. And I really just wanted to prove that it is more than possible to walk here from the closest bus stop in 10 minutes. This is not the outskirts of town. This is by far the best location the city could have come up with this, and I'm quite happy with them for stepping up and doing their part to make this happen.
Yeah,
I'm quite proud to ask for this. I'm proud of Horizon North, and I'm proud of all these trades guys. They're working 12-hour days to get this done, and it's going to be an asset for our city.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see, Horizon North, which, operates on the reserve, provides a lot of great jobs to Kamloops. A lot of the jobs they do make are in the oil field, right? I think there's just so many things just coming together to make this happen that it does make me feel good. Or feel like Kamloops is trying, at the very least. Where would you like to see Kamloops try even harder? Or how do you fit into that attempt to try with the Love Hard Society?
I'd like to do more work with seniors, elders on the reserve. Tecumloops itself as a nation. I don't know if I call them Tecumloops as a nation, but there's some shortcomings there. I'm really impressed with what we are finally getting to do here with dealing with this housing crisis. I sure hope we come up with some sort of answer for the drug crisis. But beyond that, we need to stop leaving people behind.
Totally.
And one of my biggest concerns is the seniors are the last people that are ever going to tell you they need help. And we're going to be leaving more and more of them behind in this rat race of bringing in new people to the city and growth and money in and money that, well, you know what? They're not keeping up with that.
Yeah.
And they built this city.
They did, true. And I guess there's a interesting nexus of, old Kamloops intersecting with, kind of the future of Kamloops going on right now. And you can see the attempts at Spirit Square, right? Having a mixed kind of housing situation going on there, right?
ARPA's kind of exciting.
ARPA's very exciting.
I'm not unimpressed with what they're bringing to the city.
Every time I learn more, I get more and more excited, right? And just seeing what Mitch 4G has done with Redbeard and the growth of Redbeard, right? You can chronicle literally the growth of New Kamloops based off of that business and that corridor, in my opinion, right? There should be a documentary.
Shameless plug for their chicken club sandwich.
Yeah, I find myself getting coffee there more often. Actually, today I went to Leon John's because I needed a smaller coffee and a quicker go pick up. And
that's going to be a really popular place too, with that development just across from there. And then if ARPA puts that huge thing in beside the Innovation Center, or that whole block,
huge thing is it's an arts and culture hotel. It's just everything I want to see in Kamloops, right? And it seems like they are trying to not leave people behind in the way they're planning things a little bit too, right? That.
I'd really like to find out if Joshua was able to save any of that tree in behind Ask. We talked about that.
Someone just gave me a call. I apologize for that. Just have to let them go. Or if you could continue chatting for the next little bit, or would you like me to pause and I can just bring it back?
What would you like to do?
You can go on a little rant if you feel comfortable talking about anything at all, and I'll just make that call.
Nobody wants to hear me ranting.
All right, we'll pause for just a second. He'll finish his cigarette, and we'll get back to it. All right, so we're back recording. Just took a little break, had to take that call. But we're now walking towards the actual site. We don't have hard hats or boots or any of this proper safety equipment, so we'll just make sure we stay out of people's way.
There's a lot of tradespeople here.
Yeah, there is, how many trucks? At least 10 trucks right now, or cars. There's a fair amount of tradespeople. You got a couple different security groups here, quite a lot of trucks. How many sea cans is that? They're not really sea cans, but they're the size of a sea cans almost.
Yeah, it looks really funny all put together in one solid unit like that, actually.
It's kind of like if you've ever seen the tiny house movement where people do try and stack sea cans. I guess they're what they call double wides. It is essentially the housing that they put in the oil fields.
Well, it's funny actually. When I was assistant manager at a Campco there, we had a sea can that was developed for the oil field, and it was a bomb shelter, and this thing was luxury. Flat screen TVs and fancy things, and I was like, I want to move into this sea can.
So we're right now walking basically on the inside right of the right-hand lane. Doesn't really feel like a sidewalk. I don't really know how I feel about cars driving by because I'm literally what?
I am a little concerned about it simply because the amount of aero trucks. These are big B trains and
Big trucks with big logs on it.
You don't get to make a mistake with these things.
Yeah, so here's one now.
This is a very, very narrow shoulder. I would assume that they're going to have more space once all these vehicles are out and the fencing is down, but you're right, it definitely is not a safe corridor for anybody in a wheelchair.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that about wheelchair. Like, we don't really know the situation that the people are in and how they get around. I got like basically a really light jacket on and holding an audio recorder as I walk. But these people might be bringing their whole life's possessions with them, or hopefully they feel safe enough to leave some stuff behind. Because,
Yes.
We can't have shopping carts rolling down this.
I don't think you'll see any shopping carts down here. My understanding is the application process for this place actually involves like job placement, skills training. There's a lot of wraparound support services here.
Okay.
And I would expect the shopping cart crowd to be more of a drop-in shelter client.
Got it.
I don't think you're going to see a lot of that out here, but the best people to ask would be ask.
Totally. I think it's still a fair point to question, right? Whenever there's an opportunity or a place of gathering of sorts, right? There will be the odd person try and make it out, think that they can just drop on into it. Given how connected you and I are, right? Think of how disconnected they can be about getting the proper information, right? And the fact that I don't know that it's going to be the people like you described means, yeah, there will be some challenges, but
we're also going to have to deal with just lay people in town saying, well, go to this place. Until this all gets sorted out, which is going to take a little while, there's going to be all sorts of misinformation and there's going to be some hiccups, but that is the end of Mission Flats Road right there. Like, I can see the tannery from here.
Yep.
We are less than a kilometer from the core of well, not the core, but we're less than a kilometer from the Overlanders Bridge.
Well, it's kind of that old idea of like, not in my neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like,
I've heard that from a lot of people, actually. They didn't like Stuart Wood last year when I got in their neighborhood. I personally, living beside the Emerald Shelter, have experienced some of the challenges that somewhat transient population brings. This is a brilliant location. This is close enough to services. This was a great move on the city's part.
But also, like, I think we can also see, ITEL's down here, right? And they're getting rezoned or whatever be to turn into business office and whatever be. And once, not to say that it'll happen quickly, but eventually the mill will go away and this will all become, the new hottest place too, right? So it's almost a little bit of a real estate gamble for some of the big players too, right? So we're just going to walk on up. We're at the edge of basically where they would drive on in.
See how close we can get here.
But what are we looking at? It looks like...
I'm betting that these are the offices. What we're looking at is 3 skidded trailers on the east end of the building. It doesn't look like that's actually part of the residences. So that's probably where the office is, training center, cooking.
Yeah, and this looks like it's probably going to be a parking lot over here.
That looks like a kind of an industrial vent thing up there. So they're going to have full kitchen services and stuff here. I don't believe there's anything like kitchens in the units itself.
No, I don't think so. And I don't think that would make sense to try and optimize the space, right? So
it's a 24/7 supported shelter, so that's got to include the cooking.
How many people are expected to move in?
I believe 55.
55. So I think the homeless count was around 400 or so. I think
it was just over 200, which is more like 400.
Yeah. Because there's so many of the hidden homeless, or the people who are couch surfing, the
absolutely
people who aren't actually hitting the streets with their heads. I saw the saddest thing actually one day. I was out late and seeing like a family baby in stroller, kid with a backpack on, mom backpack front and back, dad pushing the stroller, right? Like it's 8 o'clock at night, mom's hammering on the cell phone, basically trying to find where she's going to stay that night. Like it's
scary.
It's really sad, right? Like,
Well, and you bring up a really good point there. It's not just the homeless that suffer. There's a lot of people that can barely afford their rent. So
they're
going without.
Well, you and I got in a little bit of a conversation. Well, you and Jesse on the Nexus about someone whose landlord was trying to push them out. And you were saying, oh yeah, it's probably not worth the fight, But Jesse was saying, well, yeah, you are on the right side of the law, but again, what are they supposed to do with that part, right? Like, they could be part of the hidden homeless pretty easily by next month too, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's after getting a lease and getting it signed and doing everything, as they should.
And I think they probably do have the legal rights that,
totally.
Of course, they should have. But is it worth that hassle?
Well, where should we mosey on?
I don't think we're going to be able to cut through there. They'll
I
get
don't think
mad
we
at
should.
us, so we'll just walk back along this road.
For once, we're trying to keep our heads down, which we don't do.
Try not to get run over by one of these chip trucks.
Yeah.
That is something, actually, I didn't realize just how sketchy this was going to be for that, and that should be a concern that the city has to look at.
Well, yeah, I
don't think they're going to put in sidewalks or anything, but the winter maintenance along here is going to have to be top notch.
Yeah, basically going into the trial in winter, that's going to be a really, really rough time. I've done many runs in the winter months. Many trail runs, because that's actually December 2016 was my biggest month for running ever, and it is tough. And I'm a fit, young, able-bodied guy, right, who's choosing to do this. And I have to admit, like, it is really tough. Even just running on the street. Like, I remember running on, I think it was Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, whatever. And I was running through, like, 10 centimeters of snow at one point, right? And, one slip and not all that fun. So I hope there is someone who figures this all out. And there was a post about someone who was asking exactly that, about the Rivers Trail that goes in Riverside just stops abruptly, right? Because it then feeds into the North Shore rather than out here.
I did actually want to show you that clover leaf, because it's pretty complicated and overbuilt.
You're talking about the...
To get from West Victoria through, like, if you went on Angel Street, you'd actually have to hang a left, and then you got to go around and cross the crosswalk and end up at the waterfall.
Are you talking about walking or
walking?
Yeah. So that was kind of one of your plans with this, was to walk from Victoria and see what it would be like if we were not so fortunate as we are. We're both pretty blessed to have a roof over our heads, which we're both, not to speak for you, I think we're pretty grateful about that.
I am.
So Amy, what else do you want to share or talk about?
Well, we touched base a little bit on the hungry housed. So Love Heart Kamloops actually has an event coming up this November 3rd. That's this Saturday. We're going to be at the Oddfellows Hall. I believe that's 423 Tronquil. We're going to be there from 11 to 2 or until everyone's fed. And it's just come down, say hi, have a chat, have some lunch. We'll have some take-home hampers for people. We have activities for the kids. We have some live music.
Oh, awesome.
The Breeze, Nicole Clay, the fabulous Nicole Clay, and Justin Bentley will be down to serenade us a little bit. It should just be a really good event.
Yeah, and so if you're listening to this and if you're like me, you might not have extra cash to donate. You have maybe some time, or maybe you don't have any time at all, but it does help Love Hard tremendously if you like their Facebook page or like any of the posts that you see or invite people to the event or whatever it be. You can use your online presence to help them out, reach the people who really could, use some hot food.
Everyone could use some hot food.
Absolutely. So, Amy, maybe we should leave it there, and maybe we'll have more chats in the future. We've had a few now.
Yeah. No, and I'm glad you came out with me today to have a good look at this. I've only driven by it so far, so this was kind of neat to get feet on the ground and notice things like this sidewalk. I didn't realize that this was as bad as it was. And how many trucks have gone by us already? That's got to be the 20th.
Yeah, like we look a little odd walking around with microphones, but like I can't really watch ahead while I'm talking on this microphone, and I'm pretty lucky that I haven't walked into traffic yet. So
or a puddle or a sign.
Or a puddle or a sign or a car. If you're interested in the organization Amy is a part of, there's a whole group of them. They're called Love Hard. They have a Facebook group. They have a Facebook page. Check them out. Give them some love, right? They're grassroots. They're really trying to do something awesome in the community. And that's I think what's amazing about the internet is how it allows us to organize, people with common goals and to really achieve something greater, right? Like we're very blessed to live in the age that we are, that we can use these mediums. And Amy and I are going to continue chatting after this podcast about some ideas to help them reach a bigger audience. And I encourage anyone listening in, if you're interested in sharing something, right? You can start a podcast. You can start a Facebook live stream. You can start a Facebook group. You can go to the Nexus and make your points known, right? Like, just make this town what we want it to be.
Community,
yeah.
I really appreciate how you are about community, because I'm about community.
It's sometimes I have to remind myself about it, right? Like sometimes the ego pops on out or whatever be, right? But I was talking to my brother the other day, and I was like saying, oh yeah, I started smoking a little bit of weed here and there again. I took 2 months off. And he's like, and I'm like, yeah, I was self-medicating. That's the only reason why I got this far. He's like, no, you got this far because of your support network. Your support network is your community. And if you don't have one, right, Love Hard can be your community. And it is. For a lot of people, their community, their family is that Facebook group, and the support you guys give and that I see and that you've curated is amazing, right? And I think I would like more people to find their communities, and maybe Love Hard is their community, maybe it's not, right? But just go out and find your community, and you can use the internet to do that. And if we do that, Kamloops is going to be a greater place by tomorrow. All right. Well, I'll leave it there.
And if you're ever tired of all the negativity on the internet, just do a good deed to offset it. One a day is all it takes.
Oh, I'm trying. Well, thank you once again, Amy. And yeah, we're going to have to do this again. I enjoyed this.
This was fun.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Oh, yeah, if you are listening in, please subscribe. Maybe rate me on iTunes. I know my podcast is a little orthodox, a little bit weird, a little bit different, but I love it. And it somehow is making me into a better person. That's what Cameo 3.0 is about, is becoming a better person. So thank you so much. And till next time, join the community. Bye-bye.